What's going up, everybody? It's Teeny the Great back for another update video, and as you can tell by the title, I have some pretty exciting news. But before we get into that, let me get to the update part of this video. So as far as the novel goes, I'm still working on the first new chapter. I have a couple pages left of the first new chapter, and then I'll get working on the first. Like I said, I have about 6 of them to do. So I should finish that one up today or tomorrow, and then start working on the next one. And it's pretty cool. I'm enjoying it so far. It's like kind of working from a different person's. It's actually not from. I keep saying it's from that person's perspective. It's like it turns that person into the subject, and it's from a third person point of view. So I think it's kind of cool. It's like becoming a new character almost. Like you might hear actors say that when they're getting into a role, they really have to become the person that they're the character. They have to become that person. So I feel like it's that way for writing for me. Like I really have to get into that character because the characters are only believable when they have their own personality, their own behavior, and their own mind. And I definitely have to become kind of that character and make it realistic. I have to get in the mindset of what would this character do in this situation? What would they say to this? Or how do they speak? Things like that. How do they move? How do they interact with people? So it's cool to get into this new character, I guess, and I'm enjoying it, and I think it's going pretty well. So yeah, that's about it for the novels. Now let me get to the publishing topic. I did get published. And of course, no, it's not the novel. The novel is very much unfinished. But a story that I submitted to my school literary magazine while I was still a student. This was a pretty long time ago, like about 6 or 8 months ago, and I submitted it and just completely forgot about it. What they do is they publish student works and alumni works, and I submitted something, and like I said, I didn't really hear back from them, and they don't publish that often. They come out with the issue every couple of years maybe. So I really didn't think about it. I didn't know it wasn't promising at all. I just pretty much forgot about it, to be honest. And then I got an email a couple days ago saying that the issue with my work has been posted, and I was like, instantly my heart just like stopped, and I got so excited, and I was like, is this real? Is this happening? And I went and checked out the issue, and right there my name is in the table of contents, and my work is on that page. So it's crazy. I mean, I don't know, I'm a published author, and that's awesome because this is what I've been working towards all summer. Even though I didn't write this summer, I've been submitting to magazines and things to get published, something like this, and it happened when I completely did not expect it whatsoever. And I'm actually not too fond of the story that got published. I had this really great idea for a story, and I fought with it all semester. And what is published is the first draft of this story. So I have something in my arsenal now that's I'm really proud of, and it's the final draft of the same story, but it's in a completely different direction. So this one that got published is the first draft, but I don't think it's the worst draft out of all of them. I think like the second and third are like horrible. I just took the story into like a terrible direction, but you learn from that, and now I have a really good story and I have a published story. So it's crazy. I'll link it below and probably right there if you want to go read it. You don't have to, but if you want to go check it out, that'd be cool. And it's gonna pop up, and just click on current issue in the tab that it leads you to, and that's the PDF with all the student work, and then just find my name in the table of contents. But man, I was speechless when I saw this, and it's not a paid publication by any means. I'm not getting paid for that. It's not huge. It's an online literary magazine that my school has, and so a few students from the school are gonna read it probably, and some of you may think that's not a big deal. That's kind of lame. It's not legitimate, I guess, but to me it is a huge deal, and this is why. When I was I think it was when I was a junior in college, I took my first creative writing class, and it was just intro to creative writing, and we did a lot of types of creative writing. But I got this opportunity to go on a trip with my professor and one other student from our school, and it was a huge writing convention. There were workshops that taught you about writing. The whole time was spent with hundreds of writers, and they gave me feedback, and I got critiqued by local writers, and it was cool because these were all regional writers that are making a living from writing. They're not working a job in writing as a hobby. They're making a living off writing, and they are writers, they're authors, they're poets, and that's something that's obviously the goal. That's the dream, to make a living off writing. That's what I want to do. So to see these people that were from my area and they were doing that, they weren't famous authors by any means, but they were writers and they were making a living off doing what they're passionate about. So, and they all had one thing well, I will say this first. A few of the people I spent most of the time on the trip with was the professor that I went with and his former students. So these students now are like 30 or 40 years old, but they used to be his students. And it was a group of about 4 of them. And it was really cool to hang out with them and just get different perspective on writing and really like being treated like a writer, not like a student. And it was just a remarkable experience. But all those the former students, those writers, they all had one thing in common. They all went to the school that I went to. They learned from the same professor that I learned from. And their first publication, all of them, their first publication was in that magazine that I just got published in. And to think like, you know, it's not a huge magazine, it's not a paid publication, but it leads to better things. They all started from that, and now they're making a living writing, and that's what I want to do. So I guess it's pretty inspiring to see those people and to start out where they started out. So if they could do it, then I can definitely do it too. And I think that's why it's so cool to me, because ever since I heard that their first publications were in that, I'm getting tongue-tied, that their first publications were in that magazine, that was a goal of mine, to get published in that. And I graduated without being published, and I never thought about it again, pretty much. And then I read that, and it just blew my mind. So if you want to check that out, like I said, I'll link it. It's kind of a slightly depressing kind of story, but it's alright. If you want to check it out, that's cool. And yeah, I'm just over the moon right now. Like, I am so happy. I definitely didn't think this day would come back quickly, and not from that magazine either. So it's crazy. I've been congratulated by peers already, and it's crazy. Like, I am so excited because I'm a published author now, or a published writer, I should say. And man, it's just cool, and it's just gonna get more and more awesome from here. I'm gonna get better publications, better magazines, I'm gonna get paid, and it's all just gonna, this is the first rung of the ladder that I'm gonna be climbing, and this is where it starts, and it's just gonna get better from here, and I'm pretty excited about it, as you can tell. But yeah, I guess that's the video, man. I got published. And yeah, so I'll link that, and you know what, guys, I always say it, but stay motivated, because there's of course been days where I'm like, I go without writing, or I write for a little bit and then can't think of anything, and I'm like fed up, I guess. But if you're ever, no matter what you're working on in life, if you're ever in that moment where you're not really motivated anymore, just take a step back and think, why did I start doing this in the first place? And I promise you, you're gonna fall. Either you're gonna realize that you don't want to do it and you can switch to something else, or you're gonna fall in love with the idea all over again, and that's gonna give you the motivation that you had when you first started. And so anytime you're in a rut, just step back and think, why did I start doing this in the first place? And stay inspired, because I found inspiration from local writers that went to my college 20 years before me, and look what that did for me. You know, I'm published now. So find the inspiration wherever you can, no matter what you're working on. Inspiration is all around you, so just use it. And of course, guys, above everything else, stay happy. See ya.